What if I told you that everything you think you know about human history is fundamentally wrong? That the story of our species isn't about gradual progress, but about three earth-shattering revolutions that completely transformed how we live, think, and organise ourselves. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mind-bending books of the 21st century, Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, and I guarantee that by the end of this video, you'll never look at humanity the same way again. This isn't just another history lesson, folks. This is the ultimate story of us, told through the lens of a brilliant historian who dares to ask the questions most people never even think about. Why did Homo sapiens dominate the planet while other human species went extinct? How did we go from hunting mammoth to building rockets? And perhaps most importantly, what does our past reveal about our future? Harari takes us on an incredible journey spanning 70,000 years, from the moment our ancestors first left Africa to the age of artificial intelligence and genetic engineering. But here's the kicker. This isn't your typical dry academic textbook. It's a thrilling adventure that reads like the greatest story ever told, because frankly it is. Sapiens stands as one of the most influential works of popular history ever written, catapulting Israeli historian Yuval Noah Harari from academic obscurity to global stardom. Published in 2011 and translated into English in 2014, this groundbreaking book has sold over 12 million copies worldwide and has been translated into more than 50 languages. What makes Sapiens extraordinary isn't just its scope, but its audacious approach to understanding human civilization. Harari presents a radical thesis that challenges conventional wisdom about human development. Rather than viewing history as a series of gradual improvements, he argues that three specific revolutions, the cognitive revolution, the agricultural revolution, and the scientific revolution, fundamentally transformed our species and our world. Each revolution didn't just change how humans lived, it rewired our brains, restructured our societies, and redefined what it means to be human. The book's genius lies in its ability to synthesize insights from archaeology, anthropology, biology, and economics into a coherent narrative that's both intellectually rigorous and remarkably accessible. Harari doesn't just tell us what happened, he explains why it matters and how it shapes our present reality. He tackles massive questions that most historians avoid, like why humans became the dominant species on Earth, and whether our technological progress has actually made us happier. What sets Sapiens apart from other historical works is its willingness to challenge sacred assumptions about human nature and progress. Harari argues that many of our most cherished beliefs about civilization, democracy, and human rights are actually shared myths that exist only in our collective imagination. This provocative perspective forces readers to reconsider everything they thought they knew about human society and our place in the natural world. Sapiens unfolds as an epic narrative of human transformation, beginning 70,000 years ago, when our ancestors were insignificant animals living in small bands across Africa. Harari's central argument revolves around three pivotal revolutions that catapulted humanity from biological irrelevance to planetary dominance. The cognitive revolution, occurring around 70,000 years ago, marked the moment when humans developed the unique ability to create and believe in shared myths. This wasn't just about developing language, it was about creating fictional realities that could unite thousands of strangers under common beliefs. Gods, money, nations, and corporations all exist only in our collective imagination, yet they're powerful enough to shape entire civilizations. The agricultural revolution, beginning around 12,000 years ago, represents what Harari controversially calls history's biggest fraud. While traditional narratives celebrate farming as humanity's greatest achievement, Harari argues it enslaved our species to crops like wheat and rice. Farmers worked harder, lived shorter lives, and suffered from more diseases than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. The revolution didn't improve individual lives, it enabled population growth in complex societies. The scientific revolution, starting around 500 years ago, marked humanity's admission of ignorance and the beginning of our quest to understand and control nature through empirical observation and experimentation. This revolution didn't just give us technology, it fundamentally changed how we think about knowledge, progress, and our relationship with the natural world. Throughout this journey, Harari weaves together stories of empires, religions, and ideologies, showing how shared beliefs have been the glue holding human societies together, while simultaneously driving conflict and oppression. The cognitive revolution represents the most crucial turning point in human history, transforming our species from just another animal into the planet's dominant force. Around 70,000 years ago, something remarkable happened in the human brain that allowed us to cooperate in unprecedented ways. Unlike other animals that can only form small groups based on personal relationships, humans developed the ability to create and believe in shared stories. These weren't just simple myths, they were complex fictional realities that could unite complete strangers under common purposes. This cognitive breakthrough enabled the creation of religions, nations, legal systems, and economic structures. A Christian and a Muslim may never meet, but they can cooperate in business because they both believe in the concept of money. Citizens of different countries can form multinational corporations because they share belief in legal frameworks. These shared myths became the foundation of all large-scale human cooperation, from ancient empires to modern democracies. The agricultural revolution fundamentally changed human society in ways that still affect us today. Rather than humans domesticating wheat, Harari argues that wheat domesticated humans. Before agriculture, people lived in small egalitarian bands with varied diets and flexible lifestyles. The shift to farming created permanent settlements, social hierarchies, and specialization of labor. It also led to dramatic population growth, which meant there was no going back to the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. This transformation came with serious costs. Archaeological evidence shows that early farmers were shorter, suffered from more diseases, and worked longer hours than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. Women's status declined as physical strength became less important than property ownership. The revolution created surplus food that could support kings, priests, and warriors, leading to the first class-based societies and organized warfare. The unification of humankind occurred through three primary forces: money, empire, and religion. These weren't separate phenomena, but interconnected systems that gradually connected isolated human groups into larger networks. Money created a universal language of value that enabled trade between strangers. Empires provided political frameworks that could govern diverse populations. Universal religions offered shared ethical systems that transcended tribal boundaries. The development of writing systems marked another crucial leap forward. Writing didn't just record spoken language, it created entirely new ways of thinking and organizing information. It enabled the development of complex bureaucracies, legal systems, and educational institutions. Writing also changed how humans processed information, moving from intuitive, holistic thinking to more analytical, systematic approaches. The scientific revolution began with a simple but profound admission. We don't know everything. This may seem obvious today, but it represented a radical departure from previous civilizations that claimed to possess complete knowledge through religious or philosophical systems. The scientific method combined empirical observation with mathematical analysis, creating a systematic approach to understanding the natural world. This revolution unleashed unprecedented technological progress, but it also changed human society in fundamental ways. Science became linked with political and economic power, creating feedback loops that accelerated both technological development and imperial expansion. European powers used scientific knowledge to develop superior military technologies and navigation systems, enabling them to dominate much of the world. The relationship between science, empire, and capitalism created a unique dynamic that drove rapid global change. Scientific discoveries enabled new technologies which created economic opportunities which funded further scientific research. This cycle accelerated human development but also increased inequality and environmental destruction. Understanding the power of shared myths can transform how we approach leadership and social change. Every successful organization, movement, or society depends on stories that unite people around common goals. These myths aren't lies, they're collective agreements about what matters and how we should behave. Effective leaders don't just manage resources, they create and maintain the stories that give their organizations meaning and direction. The agricultural revolution teaches us that technological progress doesn't automatically equal human happiness or well-being. Modern society faces similar challenges as we develop artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and other powerful technologies. We must carefully consider not just what we can do, but what we should do, and how new technologies will affect human flourishing, rather than just productivity or efficiency. Historical awareness helps us recognize that many things we consider natural or inevitable are actually human constructions that can be changed. Concepts like human rights, democracy, and free markets seem permanent, but they're relatively recent innovations in human history. Understanding this can make us more thoughtful about what aspects of our current systems we want to preserve and what we might want to change. The role of cooperation in human success cannot be overstated. Our species' greatest achievements have come through large-scale collaboration made possible by shared beliefs and institutions. In an increasingly connected world, our ability to cooperate across cultural, national, and ideological boundaries will determine whether we can address global challenges like climate change, poverty, and technological disruption. The interconnectedness of different aspects of human civilization means that changes in one area inevitably affect others. The development of writing changed not just how we store information, but how we think, govern, and organise society. Similarly, current technological revolutions will likely reshape politics, economics, and social relationships in ways we're only beginning to understand. Critical thinking about progress requires us to question whether the direction of human development is actually beneficial. The agricultural revolution increased human population and technological capability while potentially decreasing individual happiness and freedom. We face similar trade-offs today as we develop more powerful technologies that could solve major problems while creating new risks and challenges. The importance of biological and cultural evolution working together shaped human development. We're not just products of our genes or our culture, but of complex interactions between biological capabilities and social innovations. Understanding this can help us make better decisions about education, social policy, and personal development. Power dynamics and inequality have been persistent features of human civilization since the agricultural revolution. Recognizing these patterns can help us understand current social and economic problems while developing more effective approaches to creating fairer societies. History shows that inequality isn't inevitable, but addressing it requires understanding how power structures develop and persist. The relationship between knowledge and power has been crucial throughout human history. Those who control information and expertise often control society. In our current information age, understanding how knowledge is created, distributed, and used becomes essential for both individual success and democratic participation. Future challenges will require combining historical wisdom with innovative thinking. The problems we face today, from climate change to artificial intelligence, are unprecedented in their scale and complexity. However, studying how humans have adapted to previous revolutions can provide insights into how we might navigate current challenges more successfully. Sapiens ultimately reveals that human history isn't a story of inevitable progress, but of constant adaptation and transformation driven by our unique ability to create shared realities. Harari's masterpiece forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our past while providing essential insights for navigating our future. The book's greatest achievement isn't just explaining how we got here, but helping us understand the choices we face going forward. As we stand on the brink of what Harari calls the next great revolution, involving artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and potentially the creation of new forms of consciousness, understanding our past becomes more crucial than ever. The same cognitive abilities that allowed us to dominate the planet now give us the power to reshape life itself. Whether we use this power wisely will determine not just our species' future, but the future of all life on Earth. Sapiens reminds us that we are not passive victims of historical forces, but active participants in creating the shared myths and institutions that shape our world. This knowledge comes with both tremendous opportunity and enormous responsibility. The story of Sapiens isn't finished, and how it ends depends on the choices we make today.